Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this in the morning, 15 minutes to change our lives. This shiur is for a refuah shalema for Yerucham and Mordechai HaKohen ben Shterna Malka. Should have video for shalema and all the brachas. And yeah, to everyone. Okay, so now we're going to do something very interesting. We're going to learn a sicha, Likkutei Sichos, and in the chat. There is, you can find online. I downloaded it, so you can have in the chats in English. And it's actually the Hemshech. So also Yom Kippur is a sicha on the same theme, and even Sukkot. So we'll miss Hashem, we had to get to do all these things. Let's see where we go with this. So the story in short, the idea is like this. There's on Rosh Hashanah, I'll just give it outside and then we'll go inside. On Rosh Hashanah, we say like this: these are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now the question is, why are we saying these are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? There's not 10 days, only 7 days. So ultimately, what we're saying is that in Rosh Hashanah there's an aspect of the teshuva, not in Yom Kippur, and also there's an aspect that it's separate from that, and really it's a deep aspect. That's essentially what we're going to talk about, this deep aspect of Rosh Hashanah and how it connects. And as I've said before in the past, there's two types of chassidus in general. There's chassidus that brings you to an avodah, something that you physically have to do differently. And another version is haskalah, which is more, it's a hisbonenus, something to think about. So it's not something you have to action do, as much as you have to think. You have to meditate and you have to internalize this message. And this is that one. This is the latter. So we'll see. Should we finish? Yeah. I see here even shorter in the Hebrew version. So I learned the Yiddish version, but I'm more fluent in Hebrew, so we're just going to do it in Hebrew. Okay. Let's go. Rosh Hashanah. Likkutei Sichos Chelek Daled. Ala pasuk on the pasuk. Says Yeshaya says Dusha Avai b'Matzai, search on Hashem where He's found. Amar Azal and Rabbi say in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, Elu these are Asaya Yomim. These are the 10 days Shebein Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. It says in the Gemara that what does this pasuk mean? Search on Hashem when He's found. Says, these are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Between. Now, seemingly there's two opposite ideas over here from the Gemara. Between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, it implies that Rosh Hashanah and Kippur aren't part of the calculation. These are 10 days between, which means Rosh Hashanah is not counted and Yom Kippur is not counted. But on the other hand, the Gemara says these are the 10 days. So it must be even Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is part of the count of 10. So what's going on over here? Because Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur there's only really 7 days in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So therefore, we must say so it's a weird language. On one hand, we're saying these are the 10 days, which would imply Rosh Hashanah and Kippur are part of the count. But then we say between. So what's going on here? Is it between or is it 10 days? If it's 10 days, then it has to include Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. If it's between, it's not included Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. So what's going on over here? Okay. So therefore we have to say Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, then in Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, Yeshna Shnei Inyanim. We have to say that in Rosh Hashanah and in Yom Kippur, there's two ideas. And Mr. Hashem will learn the Yom Kippur one in the first teshuva. So what's the two ideas of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? There's Inyanam Ha'atzmi, there's the essential idea of the day, She'ena Inyan Tshuva, which is not an idea of Tshuva. And then there's the Inyan Tshuva Shabam, and then there's a level of Tshuva in Rosh Hashanah. In Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there's an aspect of the day itself, that it's Avodah, and then it also has the concept of the tshuva aspect of the day. that because of it, that because of the teshuva, that's why they're part of the 10. And when we say these are the 10 days between, we're saying between in the sense that there's an aspect of Rosh Hashanah that's part of the Sesame Teshuva, and then there's a between, which means there's an aspect of Rosh Hashanah that's above Teshuva. And then the order is Shetchila Tzarich Aliyos Ha'avoda Machmas Inyan Ha'atzmi Rosh Hashanah. V'achar kach Avodas Teshuva Rosh Hashanah. So first you have to have, and the order is like this. First you have to have the idea of Rosh Hashanah, the central idea of Rosh Hashanah. And then you come to the second level, ultimately the lower level, which is Teshuva. So Lachein and Nema Halashoid Asa Yom Shebein. And that's why it says these are the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah. Because Mishum Shavayid is at Teshuva Rosh Hashanah, because the Avodah Teshuva Rosh Hashanah should be Glala Nichla Rosh Hashanah B'Chesh Assessment Teshuva. That because of the Teshuva aspect of Rosh Hashanah, it's part of the 10 days of Teshuva. It comes after the Avodah Rosh Hashanah, which is its essential Avodah. So first you have what he's saying is that the reason that the fact that it says between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur implies that there are two aspects of Rosh Hashanah. There's an aspect of Rosh Hashanah, the essential aspect of Rosh Hashanah, and then there's sort of the other aspect of Rosh Hashanah, which is Teshuva. And that's what we're going to discuss. What's this essential aspect? Let's see. Base. Mitzvahs Teshuva. He nailis mikol mitzvahs. The mitzvah of teshuva is way above all the mitzvahs. Now, first we have to understand what does it mean teshuva. In order to understand what's the biggest mila of Rosh Hashanah and the inyan atzmi, the central concept of Rosh Hashanah, first let's understand what is the idea of the teshuva of Rosh Hashanah. What's teshuva b'chal? Teshuva is bigger, is higher than all other mitzvahs. Lachein, therefore, mo'ila hatshuva l'sakin is kol pagamim. Shel Yasar mitzvah. So therefore, teshuva is able to fix up all the blemishes, all the mistakes, all the issues of the lacking of a mitzvah. Because teshuva reaches a level above the place of mitzvahs. Meaning, mitzvahs, let's say, reach here, and teshuva reaches above that. Now to appreciate the mitzvahs is returning Shalom Baruch Hu, is Hashem's will. Hashem has a desire for mitzvahs. And teshuva reaches above this. Now, umikivan v'amarnu in teshuva shel Rosh Hashanah barak la'achar inyan ha'atzmi Rosh Hashanah. And being that we're saying that this idea of teshuva, which is even above mitzvahs, is the secondary idea, the lower idea of Rosh Hashanah. It comes after the essential idea of Rosh Hashanah. The movement, therefore, it's understood. Therefore, the aspect of Rosh Hashanah by itself is even higher than this idea of teshuva. Let's understand this idea of teshuva a little bit. The idea of teshuva is like this. Essentially, you could use an example of like a parent and a child. So, mitzvahs, you'd say, is like when the child behaves and does what the parent wants. Parents have desire, want you to be a mensch, want you to learn, whatever your parent wants. So you do this, you behave, you don't behave, you don't always do it. And this is sort of the life you live. And you make a mistake, you don't do the right thing, whatever, you're on the mood, parents tell you to clean the room, and you don't clean the room. So then, on that level of a relationship, your parents happy with you or not happy with you. Let's say they ask you to clean your room, you're not happy. And they ask you a few times, you don't clean it, they're not happy. You might even get a punishment. But you're not listening, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. That's one aspect. That's mitzvahs. Then you have a deeper aspect, which is teshuva. What's teshuva? Teshuva is reach a deeper level. Like, to use a simple example, chas v'shalom, a parent and a child are not in a good relationship. Let's say, a kid's not behaving the whole day, they're not listening, they're being bad. The parents are very unhappy, they're not in a good place. And what happens, chas v'shalom, the kid comes, let's say they're walking down the street, and the child nearly gets chas v'shalom hit by a car. Partially gets, let's say, walking on the road, whatever, and you grab your child and you save it before getting hit. Now, even though that whole day the relationship wasn't good, and you weren't happy with your child, the child wasn't behaving, and the child was the whole thing wasn't going well. At that point, when your child is saved, Baruch Hashem, nothing happened, a parent, any parent, is going to come and give a big hug. It's like, well, what happened? You're unhappy the whole day, and you're like, you're complaining. It's like someone came to the Rebbe, complaining about their children. They get my children off the wall. So the Rebbe said, he goes, you don't know how many people wish to be in your situation. How many people come into my office wishing to be in your situation? It's what happens. So when you're in that, when you're arguing and you're having problems with a child, it's a low level of so to speak reality. But when you get to a deeper level, it's like the Rebbe is saying, you don't appreciate what gift you have, and that's true. Tshuva is realizing, hey, I have a relationship with the Eibishter. And that's why, and tshuva reaches this deeper level of that relationship, and on a deeper level. So then, what the Eibishter can give us, just like the parent that gives a hug to the child after nearly got hit by the car, even though on a mitzvah sticker level, so to speak, you weren't behaving, but you tapped into a deeper level, and that's what tshuva is. Tshuva is being able to tap into a deeper level. And another simple example is, like I used to work for Aleph. A lot of times, the mother that has a child in prison that did a crime that she's not happy about, that's not like anything to be proud of. A lot of times the mother will say, she's like, I don't have to love the action, but I can love the child. And that's tshuva. Tshuva is this level that your actions are wrong, but I still love you. And this is sort of what tshuva is. When we do tshuva, we're sort of tapping to that level. That even though we didn't behave, so we work on it. And we say, I'm sorry, and we connect. Instead of repent, we mature up hopefully a little bit. Say, hey, I'm sorry. I care about you and I care about the relationship. And I'm sorry for what I've done. And that's what tshuva is able to accomplish, to reach a high level. You have Torah mitzvahs, back to the nimshul. For example, you have Torah mitzvahs, you're meant to be doing the right thing, you're doing the ratzon of Hashem, and to learn and to connect to the Eibishter Hashem on that level. Then, but you didn't. Unfortunately, this is the reality. We have Yetzer Hara, and we don't always do everything perfectly. But then we reach in a deeper level of tshuva, which is above that. That tshuva is so deep, so it can fix up all these things, all these mistakes that we've made. That's this level of tshuva. Now, what is this essential aspect of Rosh Hashanah? That we haven't talked about yet. Let's see. So, b'ma misbates ha'avodas Rosh Hashanah. So what? How do we bring out this essential idea of Rosh Hashanah? That how is it? It's by, like it says, Imru lafanai v'chulu malchus, say in front of me words of kingship. In order that we should crown Hashem as king on us. Like it says, it brings down in Rosh Hashanah. The move on, the move on's understood. Shekol oid, but like kibla al atzma, es malchusis barach. As long as we take upon ourselves Hashem's kingship, lo shayach la'avodas mitzvahs. So therefore, mitzvahs don't exist. Mitzvahs exist when you have a relationship, when you have a God, when you have a king. You don't have a king, you don't have a relationship. Like it says, the kiblu malchusi va'achar kiblu gzeirasi. Like the story goes, that the king wanted to be king over some people. And they said, first tell us your laws. Let's hear your laws. Let's see if we wanted you to be in charge. He said, no, it doesn't work that way. He said, first, take me, and then I'll tell you my laws. Because you're not taking the laws, but it's like transactional, Judaism. You're going to say, Hashem, what's the mitzvahs? What do you need me to do? Let me see if it's worth it me. What's my reward? What's my punishment? I'll figure it out. It's like, there was a bacher, I heard that, from Bati Shivas, they have a thing called like a knas. Basically, it's a very transactional relationship in yeshiva, unfortunately, for a lot of the people. And you don't come, so you get in trouble. You have to pay a fine for not coming. So one time, a bacher, he put in an envelope, he put money, whatever it was, let's say $15. He put it in an envelope, he put it under the door of the mashgiach, the guy in charge. And he said, this is for Seder Chassidus that I'm missing. And he put it in, he went to bed. And he slept in. So is this a relationship we have with God? What's going on? Like, do I like these mitzvahs? I don't like mitzvahs. Do I want to do? I want to do it? Tell me what I need. What's the minimum I need to do to not get punished? And then I'll do it. And the rest of it, I'm gone. Or is it a deeper relationship? And this is sort of what we're doing in Rosh Hashanah. This is what we're saying. The deeper level of Rosh Hashanah, we're going to discuss it more tomorrow, is crowning Hashem as king. And we're going to discuss tomorrow, what does that mean? But like we're saying, is kiblu malchusi kiblu gzeirasi. First, take on my kingship. First, and this is sort of the ultimate avodah of Rosh Hashanah, is take Hashem as king. And we need to discuss what that means, how to think about this practically, but that's sort of the point. And without that, you don't have mitzvahs, you don't have teshuva, none of that exists. All that exists after we have Hashem as king. So you will read a little more, finish paragraph. So hooray, shegama v'shuva, even the vayda tshuva. Tshuva is all about fixing up, but we didn't fulfill the decree of the king. The king wants us to do mitzvahs, and we didn't do mitzvahs, but we do tshuva, and tshuva fixes those mitzvahs that we didn't do. But that whole concept only exists. They're taking God as king. Without God being his king, then how do you do tshuva? The whole relationship doesn't work. First, you have to establish a relationship, and you say, "I want to be in a relationship," and then we can discuss the tshuva. If a kid comes and someone comes and says, "I'm sorry, but I don't care about the relationship," sorry doesn't mean anything. It's in a vacuum. The relationship is based of having the whole tshuva and the whole mitzvahs is based off the relationship. At first, I have to take God as my king. And then I have to figure out what I've done, what I haven't done, what I need tshuva, and God can forgive me. But if I don't have the relationship with God, then what's to forgive? So first and foremost, we have to have this idea of taking Hashem as king to be discussed further tomorrow, and then we can. Once we have that, so then we can come. Now that Hashem is a king, and now that we have that established, then what did you do? How do we fix it? Let's go further. To be continued, Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow.